Hi, I'm Rachel from Paradise Fibers, and today I'm going to be showing you how to knit with the Addi Express. We're going to be going over flat knitting today rather than circular knitting. The first thing I wanted to show you is what comes with your machine. When you first get it home, you have the main piece here. Usually they come with a ball of yarn. It may or may not be the exact same kind of yarn. And then it's got the feet for it, which you just screw into the bottom there. It's pretty straightforward. And there's a couple of table clamps that wrap around the legs, and you can use it to secure it to a table. And also, I wanted to point out, there's a small bag with 3 extra needles, but there's also a darning needle in it. And that little plastic red needle really comes in handy while you're using the machine for a variety of tasks. Okay, just set that back in there. Also, I find it really useful to have a small crochet hook on hand. This one's a size 2, just a metal crochet hook, and a tape measure. You'll need that to measure how long the strips of fabric you're knitting are. And also, you're going to want some preferably circular needles to take the pieces that you've knit off with once you've finished knitting them the length that you want. The needles that I found work the best are the Bryce Bun, and they're a really reasonably priced knitting needle. I like the 16-inch, and like size 4 or 5 seems to work pretty well. It'll get right in between the grooves on the machine to help take those stitches off, but we'll go over that a little bit later. Now, once you get your machine out of the box and all set up, the first thing you're going to need to do is set it to knit straight fabric for our purposes today. So, if you look on the side of it, there's a little switch, and you just flip it up. Simple as that. And you're going to want to turn the knob on the machine so that you have the 3 black needles, and you're starting with the white needle that is just to your left of the black needles. Now, how you're going to begin is as you turn the machine, with that first white needle, you're going to loop the thread in front of it under the hook. Then with the second white needle, you're going to go back behind it. Then you'll go through the hook for the next one, behind, and then through, and behind, and through, and so on, all the way till you've done that with all of the white needles. Now, once you run out of white needles, what you're going to do is you should end up threading it under the hook of the last white needle, and then you're going to go around behind the next black needle. Let the second black needle actually grab the yarn a little bit, so you'll go in front of it so it kind of hooks down, and then go ahead and turn it back so that you've just barely looped the yarn in one circle around that end black needle. Then you lay the yarn in the holder and close it up. And now you're going to go ahead and knit back across. So what should happen is there should be one loop around that end black needle, and that's going to be hooked into the needle itself. Then as you go, some needles will have yarn in front of them, and some needles will just have yarn behind them. But all of the needles should hook the yarn through the hook and pull it down. Now, be careful once you reach the end. Mine wanted to come off, so make sure that the yarn on that last white needle, you can kind of hold it and anchor it a little bit with your other hand so that it stays wrapped around that needle while you're getting this started. And you might have to give it an extra little tug. Okay. So once you've reached the end, go ahead and go back through, being very careful that the yarn is looping through all of the needles and getting pulled down, and that none of the yarn is getting split or stuck anywhere. Now, once you reach that end black needle, what should have happened but did not happen for me is the yarn should just come right off. So I'm going to go ahead and make that happen here. And now go back across, keeping an eye out to make sure that they all get hooked. And it's really the first couple of rows that are very critical. After that, it goes a lot smoother, but you want to always keep a watchful eye on what's going on. So, and you want to go the full distance each time. Gently but firmly get to the end of the rotation before you go back. There's a couple of reasons, of things that happen when you do that. So, one of which being the opposite end over here, that needle comes up a little bit, and it's just enough so that it creates a special loop for that end needle, which is what you want. Now once you've got the hang of that, just keep knitting until you reach the desired length, and we're going to go over how to take the stitches off in a second.